our time. All right, everyone. This is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is August the 10th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. This is the work session for the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 1 today I have, and I've given everybody the notes on previously. We had our special meeting on July 27th, at which time we did speak with the developers that provided us the response to the request for proposals. I did, Trinidad Urban Renewal did vote in for the acceptance of that proposal. So with that, I did send the draft agreement for the agreement to buy, sell, and develop property. That was sent to Kip Hamden, sent to Tim Lamb, who was here that day, who was general counsel for the Kip Hamden organization. I sent, in the previous week to that, I sent the environmental study that was completed in 2018. And I did also forward a copy of the title commitment, which was to be in place to the Kip Hamden, the buyer developer, for August the 15th. That has been provided to him. I did last Friday. Tim Lamb was in town. He did stop in my office to advise me he had received it. It had all been sent by email, but he had received it, but been relatively busy, and he would be reviewing it and getting back to us in the near future. Us, I mean myself and Paul Benedetti, to go over the terms and conditions of the agreement, see if there's anything that needs to be changed or they want to be changed, so that we can take this toward the next steps for closing or whatever that's going to be, based upon the schedule that was put in the development agreement and ultimately made part of the buy, sell, and development agreement for the buy, sell, and development of the property. So that's where that's at right now. It is sitting in Tim Lamb's desk for quarters, and just waiting to go to see what next steps are on that. Any questions? Mr. Howlett? Nope. Okay. Well, as that progresses, I will say, actually, I will get emails out to everybody to know, let everybody keep abreast of where that's going to be. But it's exciting to see what is proposed to take place. I firmly believe that it will take place, and so it's just a matter of watching it all come to fruition over the next year to a little less than 2 years.
It's great to have been involved in this.
Yes. So.
Do you remember when they said that they were going to start the Ford place?
Yes. My understanding is that they will next month in September.
Okay.
There will be hearing for that development of the building and whatever else for the Ford Chrysler dealerships, as they've stated in the development agreement or the proposal they put to us. The Hughes building will be an integral part of that. It'll be a part of it, and so it adds an additional landmass to be able to create a bigger development on Cedar Street. So Tim said that next month they come to city for the next steps, I guess, for conditional permits or for consideration for the permitting and.
He made a comment, but I wasn't aware of that, because I guess that was a topic about that. He said the new stuff behind the Hughes, between there on Cedar. I didn't know any of that until he mentioned it the other day. So.
Well, he wasn't here.
Yeah, and what it is their proposal is on that block, which is directly south of the Toyota dealership, is going to be, because they purchased, Phil Long owns the Ford Chrysler dealership. So the intention is, when they purchased it, would be to be able to move it down on Cedar Street. So that, again, all everything they do is subject to city approval. So what will happen is, there will be a brand new facility built down there.
Wow, amazing.
And so it's that too pretty exciting, because you've seen just so many things happening down there in an area that one time was, for all intents and purposes, nothing but blighting conditions.
Increased tax revenue, increased foot traffic, a Main Street facility opened up for something new. It's a win all the way around.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Trinidad is continues to see things happening, so it's a beautiful thing. So as things progress with the agreement and between TURA and the Kip Hamden Campana Group, I'll keep everybody apprised of that.
Very good.
Sounds good.
Item number 2 is letter to property owners. And we've talked about that in the past, and I give you the information on there. One of the things that and I did, there was, I think I put in there, my notes, I better read what it was. I got a letter that came from TURA, who works downstairs at the city of Trinidad. At that time, she had put together a draft, and her and Keeley at the time did put out what they sent to us in draft for us to look at. There was also a list of properties that they thought could be out there on that. And I went through these properties, and a couple of things on there. There are some in here that I don't know are applicable. They were sent for examples. But I can tell you, like the 448 North Commercial, I believe is the empty lot next to the Commercial Street Bridge. It was actually property owned by the Strand Theater that was there at one time. And so that 448 North Commercial, I believe, is the lot next door to Xfinity, and I believe that's their property. I think Comcast owns that lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there next to the Commercial Street Bridge. The 127 East Plum Street is the property that we are in the process of selling. It belongs to the city of Trinidad, and we are in the process of selling. We've got a development proposal from Kip Hamden, so that one should be struck from there. So that's one that's on there. 137 East Plum. Couldn't put an actual location on it, but I think it's the Tamborelli Construction. And so, again, so it's a list that was put together as suggestion. It didn't mean they have to thing with it. The 178 East Plum couldn't locate it. I couldn't locate it 299 North Commercial Street. I think 135 East Plum is the apartment building. 100 West Main is a prime candidate. That's the Opera House. 201 South Commercial could possibly be a candidate as well, because that's the, I can't remember what it was in the past, but it's just north of the Knights of Columbus building. It's a beautiful street around there. If you haven't seen First Street, it's on the corner of First and Commercial Street.
Is the Opera House an historic building?
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
that limits
Yes.
what can be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Main and Animus? Was Penny Billing?
Well, that's one
Is
problem.
that one of these right here?
It's not on there, no, that's not on there. That one is 333 North East West Main Street. It's not on there. And again, this is what they just threw out there for, these are all commercial properties, so they're things that, into the future, but these are suggestions. When they compile this is something they gave us as food for thought.
Well, here's a good thing about that, if I may, is that we've gone from everything, kind of the nuclear, everybody gets a letter, right, to a more surgical kind of, let's be very targeted. Once we have this letter that we like, as new things are developed, we can one-off letters to people. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to, in the future, be, so if we find somebody has just picked up a building that's been vacant or blighted for a long period of time, but it's got new ownership, we can actually reach out to that owner and say, listen, we're here. If you want to do something with that, we have a toolkit that can help you, right? So I like that we minimize it and it's more targeted.
201 South Commercial, oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say the Opera House, have they made any progress with that?
Um,
I was just gonna ask the same thing, so we were brainwave.
I think there are things in the works. I can't say for sure, but when my last conversation, when was it? It was not Tara Booth, but Chris Hall. Chris Hall
Yeah.
works downstairs. She said that there were possibly things going on it that somebody has, they're looking at it. So it might come to us. It is a prime candidate. It will be a monumental project for a developer, but that will, where we participate and what they want to do will be dependent on what that project may be. But yeah, that's what 100 West Main Street is at. 201 South Commercial was, that was the Newnham building at one time. 165 East First Street is the burned out chiropractor building. Okay, and
Sad.
I think there are some in the wings problems with that, so it's one, but we don't know where we could go with that. But that's what these are. 200 East Main, I don't know where it falls in anything on this, because I believe that's the Quick Lube building where the hail dead person is, and I don't know that it has any kind of conditions that we would need to try to remediate. It's got, you know, it's a nice building and for sale and it is occupied and I see nothing. So if 200 East Main is where I look, that's where it's at. And then 311 North Commercial is a building right across from me. It is the Savoy Hotel and Restaurant. And so, you know, that's what they put on here. I did research what these are. Some we can't locate, some of these Plum Street properties, I couldn't even locate them on the assessor side, so I don't know, even with physical drive-bys, I don't know where they are. So going further into this, and it's in the notes, I'm saying, you know, we've got this, I'm thinking that, you know, we have a golden opportunity to learn how we can do this with what's going to happen on August the 17th with our TIF 101 training. It's you know, that's my next subject on here, but those two tied together. What we can glean from that on that TIF 101 training, because you're going to have some of the people that are going to be here are going to be representatives, and Ricker, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, from Ricker Cunningham, and they are the ones that actually did this condition survey for the city of Trinidad, which led to the creation of Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. They did the survey of the conditions, and I believe in some of the past things that I've given everybody, that condition survey is included in there. So they will be here. We've got, and this is the registration that I got from the other day, somebody coming in from Johnstown, which is up by Fort Collins. That's how far they're traveling. We're gonna have somebody from Canyon City, and I'll know more on Monday who we have as coming. But Ricker Cunningham, the individuals, or whoever's coming from Canyon City and Johnstown. We have people from DCI that will be here. Paul Benedetti will be here. Who else did I see on that list? There were 13 or 14 on that list. Kat Corral, who has been on vacation, said she would update that with me.
The folks from Durango, they said they're coming over.
They haven't mentioned that.
Okay.
That was.
They've got a lot of good stuff going on over there.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes, but that's what's going on. So I'll jump from that into the Southern Colorado TIF 101. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to make some comments with regards to this. I see, as we go down this list, and it's so nice to have somebody that actually can say, oh no, that's the old such and such building. So, Chair, I just so appreciate you so many times with regards to just your knowledge. I had kind of an issue, and I know Tara wrote this, and Tara, sorry about the comments, but I had an issue with the first letter that went out. If you read this thing, there is nothing aspirational. There is nothing you read this letter and it's almost like it's governmentese. It's so government speak in here. It's so almost official. You read this letter and you almost think we're saying that your property is to eliminate blight, targeting, and reinvestment. I just think if we're going to do this, I'd like to have us have another shot at writing this letter in a more aspirational. Let's work with you. I'm a property owner. If I got this letter, there would be nothing in here that enticed me to actually do anything to encourage us there. So that's one. I just think the letter's not very update. The other thing is, should we rethink this? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you always should, right? Should we went from that big, everything that's in our area, to now we're targeted here. And I'm looking at this, and we now have this conference coming up, which you're going to go to in a minute. Might there be an opportunity for us to reach out to our reporter in the Chronicle News and have them do something that's more of a story? It doesn't have to be a big thing, because they're always looking for content. That has to do with us sponsoring, that we're sponsoring this TIF conference, and people are coming from all over. That we've got all these things going on. That we just did something with the property over here at Used Lumber. And almost do it there, and in that do a call to action. And if you're interested in knowing more about what TURA does, do this and sidestep this letter altogether.
I nominate you to call.
I like that. I'll second that.
You know what I mean? I mean, do we look at this and say, when it gets down to this, we can almost knock on these people's doors or do something here, there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, the way of getting out the word without us having to do a lot.
And we target more folks, and you get a little more of that kind of stuff, and we can actually do some things with it. I would be happy to make that call to them and at least pitch them the idea of the article. Certainly the chair should be the person they interview. In my thinking, just based on the depth of knowledge of where we are and what we're doing.
Well, let's invite them to the
And I think we could keep a letter, or maybe revise it a little bit, and keep a letter for the new people that come.
There you go. But I do think it needs to be more welcoming and less
Yes,
official.
I felt, when I read it, I felt very threatened by it.
Yeah, this does not read well.
Well,
Yeah,
and
it's
this.
very
this-
legal.
Yeah, and again, this is just
Yeah,
an
a
example of
basic.
thoughts thrown together.
It's better than a blank sheet of paper,
Yeah.
right? We have something to work on and
Right.
go.
It's
and
a starting point.
It's one kind of area, and I would like, and that's what I would actually like to see, if you guys would throw that over in my wheelhouse to actually maybe wordsmith this a little bit different and propose it to where you have that letter on file. But as to moving this forward, I really would like us to maybe look at maybe a different angle to get us out there. And so those are my two comments. Rework this so we have it, but let's see.
Now is the perfect time to do it, especially with the conference and everything.
And exactly. Now let's see if we can't get in front of our local newspaper and see if they can't do something that actually puts us in the light there like that.
Yeah. Commissioner Bailey?
I just think it's a starting point. I was glad that, you know what I was glad about? Is that somebody else is trying to help us. Here, you got Keeley, you have TURA, you got other people in the city that are helping us, and it's a starting point. We got more people involved, and people that are you know, going, even if it's rough, or not as inviting or something like that, but it just brought more people in. Now they're thinking about TURA, they're thinking about how we can.
Now Keely's gone,
Yeah.
which is so sad.
She's not here anymore?
She's been relieved.
So I'm sorry, I want to dovetail that, number 2 and number 3 together, I guess, at this point, with all things said, because, one, I'm extremely excited to have this happening here because it doesn't happen too often. So
Right.
we're bringing it to Trinidad, I mean,
Yeah.
we're not going to the mountain, but we're now bringing the mountain to us. So this is a beautiful opportunity, because the TIF 101 is a basic training on those things. We will come away with a hell of an understanding of what it is that we are, what we can do, what we're supposed to do. You're going to have professionals that this is their forte, is urban renewal authorities. Our attorney is, he's got a long history with it, he's still active in it.
He's one of the presenters.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, so, just the fact that we're getting it here. So if you want to contact the Chronicle and see if they want to do a cover story on the actual,
What's happening with it, because we got good things happening. We've got a good story to tell, and we should tell it. And I did go to the first one, when it was made available, the first 101, they had it in Pueblo at the time. It's very good. If you haven't done this, it's vital that we know that bit of information, and they do a great job presenting it. And I'm looking forward to taking it again.
Yeah, it's actually, I think the one that was one of them was actually more advanced than that. I don't know if it was the one in Westminster. We went to Westminster.
Oh, we went to the Westminster one too together.
One of them was actually more advanced than a 101. And sometimes that's too far forward from when the 101 hasn't been attended. But I guarantee you, attendance to this is well worth it for us in southern Colorado. I'm hoping that some more Colorado communities will send representatives, because there are some other URAs that exist that, I don't know where they've progressed, but there are other URAs in southern Colorado that exist or doing. There's some other towns that are thinking of creating an urban renewal authority. That's still, there are still urban renewals being formed. So I'm hoping, because this invitation was sent out by DCI, and I did give them some names of developers to.
Very good.
And so
Thank you.
we'll see where that happens. So
Very
we
good.
should have some developers present. So I'm hoping that we have attendance in this to be 20 to 30. I don't know what it is yet. So it all depends if,
Be nice.
on the last time around, if all of our commissioners be there and whatever. I know we will exceed 20. And so I'm hoping for, more URA commissioners from wherever than there will be presenters, but we'll see when that happens.
Is Walsenburg coming?
I don't know yet. They were
supposed to.
Yeah, that was the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've all been.
I'd love for them and La Junta,
Yeah.
the folks over that side too. It'd be nice to get them down
Yeah,
there.
that's all depending on what DCI did as far as invitations, but I was told by Catherine Corral that it was going to be sent to all the rurals, and they say, I mean, somebody's coming as far away as Johnstown. You know, that's a long distance. And I don't know if they're wanting or considering creating a URA, but, you know, that's what it is. So that's where it's at. And I could, you know, with those two things, those come together. But once we come away from that 101 conference next week, I think it's a great opportunity.
Have we invited our members of our planning, zoning, and variance board, our city council? I know we invited them because I think it's important that some of those folks that are in those spaces know what we're capable of doing when somebody comes to them to start building something or start doing something. They can people can say no to the invitation. You don't have to come. But I think it's.
Well, I think there's a pretty good variation out there. I mean, they come and know what we got to do, but at the process, we got to know what we can do.
I just know from the meetings I've gone that DCI has put together, there are council members that go there. There are new mayors that have gone to these things. There are folks outside of us that go there to know exactly what their TURA can do, because many times they don't. So just throw that out there. Very good.
So that's what. Any questions on that? Just to reiterate what the schedule is on Wednesday at 4 to 6 p.m. It's basically for TURA and with some of the facilitators. We're going to sort of it's a pre-meeting, and we will be, you know, what are we expecting to get out of Thursday's session? And so that's what that meeting will be. Is we as a commission, the people from DCI, Paul will be there, and it's a matter of, you know, what are we expecting to accomplish on Thursday? Put those things out there, because if they have gaps that we think we want something more, they'll be able to fill in those gaps in that. I've seen the presentation slides. I think I've seen them before, but I've seen the presentation slides that are going to be very informative, and there'll be hard copies as well as probably ways to be able to access it online after the fact as well. But that's what Wednesday evening is, 4 to 6 at the Hilton Garden Inn. Appropriate place to be, because we're
hosting.
We're hosting it, and Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority is a part of that.
We're involved in that project.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
that's it.
And let's make that known.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of crazy, but from 4 to 6, can we bring our spouse? My wife would be loving to see the building. How does that work?
Well, we are going to be in a meeting for 2 hours.
Okay, that's
So-
what I wanted to
so,
ask.
yeah,
Do you love your spouse?
I love her.
Then don't bring her.
Yeah, so that's what it's intended to be. Now, thereafter, if, you know, the plan is probably, once we get there, we could probably all enjoy dinner together on our own. And, you know, once we break out, we can enjoy, you know,
Is there
dinner.
a restaurant there?
Oh, it's
wonderful.
beautiful restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, that might be something.
Yeah, so that, you know, that could be the after. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, but we're gonna have 2 hours of meeting. And it's not a, I don't know if you wanna call it a meeting, but yeah, it's a meeting, so we can just prepare ourselves for Thursday and express what it is that we wanna see come out of it for our benefit.
I'd asked Brittany about that, and she says, ask Ed, so I'm asking her.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna say no, but I mean, I don't know what interest it might be.
I like the dinner idea.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's wide open, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful, wonderful restaurant. Okay.
Bring
And then
Oh,
on Thursday, 8:30 a.m., Space to Create Commons, 8:30 to 1, it's going to be, and we're gonna work, there'll be lunch provided, and, well, refreshments will be provided, but it's gonna be a working thing, so it won't be break for it. We'll eat as, and get to the people that are traveling, if they wanna go back home, so. So that's it. Any questions on that? If you haven't registered or you need assistance
Yes.
registering, you know, contact me. I can get that through for you. We can do it. And I think that is it. If there are no more questions, what would you like on future agendas for work session discussion? If you don't know today, please let me know by 1 week before next. Sooner than that, if I got to research anything.
I've got one, and it's for future, and it's more to discussion, just to start looking at things. I've started to look at some things that are in the crowdfunding space. And there are some, in crowdfunding, you've heard Kickstarter, those things where companies can go in and they can raise money from customers or the public. Or there's been a lot of money put together in that Make America Whatever, so there's a lot of funds out there, and there are now these crowdfunding platforms that'll work with I mentioned us, organizations like that, they're working with municipalities, they're working with economic development committees, and what they're doing is they're saying, they go to the public, our constituency here, and they say, listen, we would like to work on X building. We have this amount of dollars for that. We will match what the public wants to do. And it's a crowdfunding platform where people can come in and invest in their community in order to get things done. Great platforms for that. There are huge successes in Michigan right now. They've done like 380 of these projects, multiple millions of dollars, 60% of the money coming from the public just to get things done. And so I want to do a little more research on that, and then I want to be able to bring something to the board that actually look at another funding opportunity that brings the public that we serve into it legally, and in such a way that they can actually look at project. And maybe maybe some people that don't have the funds, some of the folks that have buildings, but they don't have the funds to do the building, maybe that's an opportunity we can put in front of them to where they can retain ownership, maybe create some wealth for them and their Trinidad area family, and then still move on blight or whatever. So it's another funding opportunity that's out there that other entities are using to great success, and those things actually start snowballing into the community saying, well, what about this project, or what about that house, or what about this, my area? So just want to, if I could, and if that's agreeable, I'd want to put some notes together so you don't have to go down that rabbit hole for that.
That's fine.
Is that good?
Fine. So you'll gather that?
And I'll get that to
Get that, okay.
I'll get that to the chair so that we can slot that
Okay.
in.
Then you'll mention it to the newspaper that we're having TIF 101 and.
I'm gonna be doing, yes, sir, I'm gonna be doing
Okay.
that, yes.
All right. Anybody else?
Okay.
Okay then. It is now 5:57 PM. This is the regular meeting of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Roll call, please.
Bailey,
Here?
Hess,
Here,
Howard,
Here?
Here,
Leone, Lopez, and Grego.
Here. Item number 2, approval of the minutes of the July 2023 meeting. Everybody was provided with an advance copy of those minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Bagley with the approval. Second,
I'll second that.
Commissioner Heck with a second. Any comments, questions? Roll call.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes,
Howard,
Yes?
Leone,
abstain?
Grego.
Yes. Item number 3, approval of the special meeting minutes, July 27, 2023.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Commissioner Howlett for approval.
I will second that.
Commissioner Leone with a second. Any comments, any questions? Roll call.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hess,
yes,
Howard,
Yes?
Leone,
Yes,
Grego.
Yes. Item number 4, acceptance of the financial report. Motion to approve.
A comment, a question?
Let's get it on the floor.
Okay, got it.
One motion.
Motion to approve the acceptance of the financial report.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Howlett with the motion for approval and Commissioner Bagley with the second. Yes, sir.
On the expenditures, consulting/admin fees, in 2022, it was $35.96 was the actual, then we budgeted $45,000 for that in this year. And year to date, and so if we take that to accrue through July, that's $26,250. But we've not actually spent any money there.
No.
And so should we revisit, is this an opportunity for us to look at this and revisit what our intent was when we approved that budget and what we were trying to do with that? Because I'm looking at that and saying, and not that I wanted to spend the money, but we budgeted $45,000 for that. We're going into August, we've spent $0 of that. And was there an opportunity for us to have maybe done something else with those funds, either earmark-wise or whatever. So that's my question.
Okay, I can answer that too.
Please.
That was done because in years past, we've utilized the services of Ayers and Associates.
Yes.
And we had, in time past, when we needed their services, they're on an as-needed basis. So we allowed that into the budget. So that's where it's at. We haven't had to use those services yet this year. That's why that money is there. If we're going to reallocate it, it'll require that we file an amended budget with the
And I don't want to reallocate.
yeah, Department of Local Affairs, but that was what was going into the process. In the past, those numbers would have been greater and the legal fees would have been less. And so when we prepared the budget last fall and we talked about it, it was at the recommendation of commissioners that we take that money, and because I think in your words, we gotta know what we don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Right.
definitely involved in all that,
And so
yes.
and that's where that all came about. So all those numbers were put together beginning in September and finally adopted, but they were as a result of what the desires and suggestions were by.
And again, I knew what that answer was going to be, because I do, with regards to Ayers and Associates, I just think it's a kind of a testament that we're getting really good bang for our buck on the legal side of things that actually has allowed us to do some things, get a little, know what we don't know, have really good representation, be able to do some of the things we're going to do. And so it seems like when we move that money into the legal side, when we went with our own attorney to advise us, it's really had an effect in other areas to that, which I think is a good thing.
And yeah, and if we still need those services, we have the.
They're available.
We've already budgeted for that stuff, but to change it will require an amendment to the budget.
Just wanted to highlight
Yeah.
that's where we are with regards to that. That's all I have.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll give you my notes on that, and before I forget it, I need to extend again my gratitude to Brittany Flores for assisting with these minutes, because her and I both work on them, and so she assists, and there's a process of time with all the other stuff she has to do, listen to all these minutes and compile them for us, and then secondly, she's the one that has to prepare this financial report for us. So Brittany, you're listening, and I thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah.
Chair,
You're welcome.
I'm so sorry, but that brings up something. Is that not to change that budget item, but is there an opportunity for us going in the next year and when we get in the budget to actually look at some of those dollars and earmark those maybe for a part-time director or part-time assistant for you?
Absolutely.
That was the other point I wanted to make is, since we've moved this stuff around and we're actually doing some things, is that our hidden money to actually get some assistance and
Well,
some
the
help there?
the admin fees, the consulting and admin fees are already in there. Should we be able to do that even between now and end of year? That's the general category that's going to be.
I would love for you to start looking at that, maybe get some assistance, and maybe that's where the dollars come from.
Well, it would be not only for me, it'd be for us in general, because, yeah, an executive director
That'd be good.
would make a big difference, because then they'll do not only the compilation of minutes or all those kinds of things, but they're the ones that are the boots on the ground to be able to go talk to developers and whatever else and bring it to us. It'll take that out of my hands and our hands. They'll bring it to us.
We get better.
In a composite
Sorry, I
form.
didn't put that in when I first, sorry, I didn't do that, but that was an important thing when I had the numbers there. So I think that's where some money
Yeah,
is.
so, yeah, that picks it up both sides.
Very good.
That's intended that, those funds are available for that to happen.
Very good.
Any other questions? Okay, just to let you know, I think our revenue for the month from July, we picked up in TIF, our money came in at $2,073. If you look at, so we're year to date on TIF, $17,850. As we move forward, I think we're relatively close, or will end the year not too far off from what we estimated at $18,000 going into it. There'll be a lot of questions I'd like to ask at the meeting next week, because with the way the property values have moved over the past, I'd like to see if our TIF is going to be taken up from that, or if there's anything that's going to hold that back. And so, by the way, in our tenants, I've been advised by Assessor Jody Amato that she and her chief deputy will be in attendance at the
Very good.
101.
That'll be great.
You'll see two things under income. You see $156, and that income includes $6 for the fee for the community garden location on Linden and White,
Mhm.
and $150 that we were reimbursed by Triple D Family Partnership, Limited Partnership, for the legal work that had to be done for that release or that waiver that we did in July.
Gas,
So-
gas facility.
Yeah, so $150 is what Paul said was his time spent on it, and $150 is what was delivered to me by Mr. Ray Duran of Triple D.
Nice.
So that pretty much took care of that, and you'll see that on the bill sheet from Paul Benedetti. So that's where it's at. I don't know, anybody have any questions on that? If not,
No
we're
further.
in good shape. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call.
Bagley?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes,
Howard?
Yes?
Leoni?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Item number 5, consideration of bills. Paul Benedetti, legal services for the month of July 2023, $3,030. His statement shows out his hours spent on this, and the majority of hours are on the Hughes lumber property sale. And these are amounts that we will recover out of that. So, you know, they're going out now, but when everything is said and done and we split, we will get our part of it, we're splitting the net proceeds with the city of Trinidad. So $3,030 is a bill payable to Paul Benedetti. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Commissioner Howlett with the motion for approval.
I'll second.
Commissioner Heck with the second. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Bagley?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes,
Howard?
Yes?
Leoni?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Item number 6, petitions or communications, oral or written. Is there anyone in the chambers this evening or anybody attending via go-to meetings that would like to address Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? I will ask once again, is there anyone in the sitting audience and chambers or anybody online that would like to address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? Let the record reflect that there's no one that has come forward. Item number 7, old business, no old business. Item number 8, no new business of record. Item number 9, report by executive director. As chairman, I administer those duties and I have nothing else to report. Item number 10, reports by commissioners. Howard?
Nothing.
Correct.
just exciting. I like what's happening.
Yeah, it's going forward in a nice direction. Commissioner Young?
I agree. I think this has been a real exciting time for us. And please, when you talk to them, remember that we did the Americana Road.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah. That is, it's probably the driving thing that why we're going to have our Wednesday meeting down there is because of our involvement and we're part of the cooperation agreement and the TIF and those things that have to do with that. So there's more to come on that, but yeah, I think it was very appropriate. That was why, and just luckily it's open in time for that to happen.
Right.
And so I think,
We should be very happy with that.
Yeah,
That it's okay for us to be very
yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah, they're excited to see it. I mean, they're aware of it and, you know, where it's gonna be, so I thought it was appropriate to have it there, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bailey.
I'm gonna share in that excitement. I'm glad.
All right, if there is nothing else that, to be conducted as.
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. Holland with a
I'll
motion.
second that.
Commissioner Leoni with a second. Any questions, comments? If there are no dissenting votes, we will consider this to be adjournment at 6:09 PM. Sorry.